What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Boardroom podcast, where we help you stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Now, Tikis and I were kind of jamming offline, and one of the things that came up was just like, there's a theme of people getting emotional, entrepreneurs being very, very emotional about their business. All right. What are some of the symptoms how do you know when someone's being too emotional with their business?
Some of the telltales could be like, we deal with businesses. We have tons of businesses, right? And then when somebody constantly bringing something up, or caring so much about one little thing always at the time, it just throws a red flag to me. I'm like, all right, this person is extremely emotional about every little thing about their business. And then when I look at the numbers, or I tell them zoom out and I put it here, this is your numbers, by the way. And then you're like, oh crap. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, stop being so damn emotional about everything. So the telltales is they're just constantly bringing something up when it's so small and tedious about every little thing and every part of the business, right? It could be the app ads and marketing the leads. It could be maybe possibly Charlie messaging. It could be their show rate. It could be a sales reps. It could be anything in the business, not particularly just one part. It's just when they bringing it up and they're constantly, you could just see it in the wording when they're writing it. They're just like, oh my God, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, so I think for this, because if you're an entrepreneur, like we as human beings, we're emotional creatures, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things that can happen is if you get too close to something, all right, you have to reduce your frequency of exposure in order to be able to make an objectively good decision, right? If you're so close to it, you can't see anything else around it, right? So you have to be able to zoom out and then zoom in. Zoom out when you feel emotional or you feel like high tension, you feel high strung, you got to be able to breathe and zoom out. So one of the things that I like to do is you got to have a decision-making framework, decision-making formula that you follow, right? For me, it's what I call CADE: compile data, analyze data, develop data-driven strategy, execute, repeat. Compile data, analyze the data, develop data-driven strategy, execute, repeat. Now, when I'm like, when I get a knee-jerk reaction to want to do something, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, right? You got to also understand a couple different principles, like function over form, right? So if I'm compiling data, I have to bias function over form, right? These are the principles that we got to remind people often, because sometimes you can get so focused on the form of something, meaning how it's presented, that you completely disregard the function of the damn thing. All right. Mm-hmm. And so an example would be if somebody is compliantly following your sales process and closing deals, but you hate the way that they're taking someone through the sales process, but they're closing deals better than you are, but you absolutely despise how they're taking somebody through the sales process, right? That is, people would focus on trying to force the person to do it the way that they want, even if it means the results are less, because they care too much about the form of something and not enough about the function of it. Right. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things inside that Charlie will do that pisses me off. But then I look at the numbers and I'm like, I can live with that. Right. Because I'm like, you got to bias the function, right? You got to work with the function.
There's times where Charlie will take somebody all the way through, gets the CTA, books the call, and the client is emotional about it. And we're like, why? Well, he was supposed to do it this way and say, I'm like, he booked you the call. Who cares? Like, stop complaining about every little thing. It doesn't matter if it's Charlie or a human being. neither of those two are going to be exactly 100% like you, the way you would message. Let's just get that straight. The goal of those two things, if it was a human or Charlie, is to get to 80. And let's just say with Charlie, we're hoping maybe like 85, 90% like you, right? So you don't have to be in there.
I'm happy even if it's like 50 to 60%, because what needs to happen, right? If you want to eliminate your emotional volatility to something, you need to be aligned on the outcome, not on the path, right? Anytime I'm delegating something to anyone on our team, right, I want to be clear about what the outcome is, so long as the path being taken there doesn't violate our core values. I don't care. Now, there are different ways that you can get there. Like, we can measure effectiveness. How effective was it? Like, how efficient was the path that they took? Right, but that's where you start compiling data, you analyze the data, you develop data-driven strategy, and then you execute, right? And you repeat that process. So long as you're aligned on the outcome, I don't care. I'm not going to bias form over function, right? If we're aligned on the outcome, I first, number one, care, is the thing functional? If it's functional and it's delivering the results that I want, then I'll go and look, can we make it aesthetically better? How can we make it better, right? Can we make it better without compromising the function of the thing? That's my number one thing. Can we make it better without compromising the function, right? If I try to improve how something looks, but then the data drops, the numbers start to drop and it starts to underperform, then I'm like, screw it. Like, I may be happy with how it looks now, but if the results are dropping, that means functionally is not producing the outcome that I say that I want, right? So do I want the outcome more than I want it being done my way, right? If I want the outcome more, then I want to bias function, right? I want to get the damn thing functional. And then if I can make it better and improve the form without compromising the function, then I'm going to starting to work on making those iterations, right? And that's where you got to get good at being able to like zoom out. Like, all right, I really don't like the way this message was set. Right. I'm not a fan of this. These conversations are pissing me off, because we as humans, we will zone in on the negative. Right. If I grab a white piece of paper and put a dot in the center of it, we'll zone in on the dot and completely forget about all the other space. Right. It's like, wow, when I zoom out, I'm like, oh, it's really one, maybe 2, 3 dots on this massive sheet of paper that is results. So zooming out is about compiling the data, right? Like when you're too close to something, you can't see from a good enough vantage point. So when you zoom out, you're compiling the data. As you're zooming out, compiling the data, then you can analyze the data from a better vantage point. And then you're like, oh, our numbers are way better than I felt that they were, right? And then what needs to happen is you have to let go of the feelings that you were associating with the circumstance, right? A lot of times what people will wrongfully do, and I see so many freaking entrepreneurs do this, where it's like they hang on to the negative feelings and they completely disregard the number and then make the decision on what they're going to do based on how that thing made them feel. And they disregard the function of the thing, disregard the results, the data, the KPI that it's hitting. And it's like having that salesperson that's closing 50%, but you hate the way they take a lead through the sales process, but they're closing 50%. Leave them the hell alone. Right. And it's the desire to want to control everything that makes it hard for somebody to let that go. And that's often what blocks people from reaching that point of breakthrough where they're able to unlock their business and start to unlock those higher levels of growth. It's tough, right? It's tough, but it requires practice and it requires discipline to be able to do that. Right. But I think those are the things that help us is like having a set frequency for when you're going to zoom out, right? Having a set cadence, right? I like to zoom out and look at the numbers on a weekly basis. Right. And even like weekly is still a little too close. Right. And then I'll, depending on like how drastic it swings, I'll zoom out even further and I'm like, I want to see what the trends are over a 30-day period. And what are the trends over a 60-day period, over a 90-day period, right? Point blank, like case in point, one of our clients reached out to me and was like, my closers hate this cancellation sequence, this cancellation use case inside of Charlie. So we turned it off. Then I was like, okay, what are the numbers for the cancellation sequence, for the cancellation use case? We look at the report for the last 180 days. 62% rebooking rate for this cancellation sequence. I'm like, F your feelings, turn this shit back on. Like those are F your opinion numbers. I don't care how you feel about it. They're like, oh, I just feel like it's a little too aggressive. I'm like, I could give a damn about how you feel about it. Turn it back on. Suck it up. Like deal with it. Because what that showed, they turned off something else 62% of the cancellations in their pipeline. 62% of the cancellation in the pipeline because I feel like it's too aggressive and I just don't like it. I don't like how it makes me. I'm like, dude, when we looked at the numbers and zoomed out, the decision became very clear. I'm like, what do you think we should do? She's like, I turned it back on and told them to shut up.
Yeah. So that one right there is like, tons of data, like you got numbers for days, right? That's like all the way this way, right? And I could tell you what, all the way this way, right? We got a client that just launched, right? Had a call yesterday, an hour-long call. He's been posting a few messages. Team gets to him real quick, right? And then he's saying, hey, I need some tender TLC guys, like tagging everybody. Like, I don't know what's going on, whatever. So I was like, all right, well, I'm putting the kids to sleep. This was last night. Putting the kids to sleep. I'm like, I'm going to go take a look, see what's really going on. Bring up the numbers. 3 leads. 3. Okay.
Yeah.
You're going crazy off 3 leads. All right. And now look, I'm like, hey, like this is 3 leads, but I'm going to just tell you something here. All 3 leads responded. 1 lead took all the way to CTA to book. You're coming at me for 3 leads. And the team just had an hour-long call. And those 3 messages that you put in Slack had been responded to. And you're asking for TLC? What the fuck are we talking about here, bro? I'm like, you need to just chill out. Dude, just get some data going, bro. I'm like, so that's a big, like, drastic here to here, you know what I mean? With you, right? Between this one I just had last night and you. And then I just started laughing. I'm like, 3 leads when I looked at this. I had to double check. I refreshed my damn screen just to see if I was missing something. Check the dates. I'm like, fucking 3 leads. Fucking you guys got it.
Well, I mean, for those, it's just like, if you're naturally more emotional, right? If you're coaching people, you're in the transformation business, like your natural disposition is you're more going to lean towards being emotional because you're outgoing, you're putting yourself out there, you're engaging with people. So you have to be able to regulate your emotions at a high level if you're going to run a business effectively. Right. Mm-hmm. And the things that are going to help you, right? Remember, function over form. We got to prioritize the function of something over the form of it. Is it functional? Is it producing results? That's first. And then when you feel like you're going to, you feel like you're going to react, anytime you just like that knee-jerk reaction, pause and remember CADE, like compile data, analyze the data, develop data-driven strategy, and then execute. The first 2 parts of those force you to zoom out and like, okay, well, what's the evidence, right? What are all the evidence? What's the numbers? What are the qualitative evidence? What are the empirical evidence? Like you're zooming out and then you're analyzing the data, right? Again, you're still zooming out. It's forcing you to slow down and be like, oh, I was about to do something that could have cost us a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Turning off that cancellation sequence would have cost us a ton of money because historically that account has a 68% show rate. So that means 6 out of 10 of those calls that were booked were taken. And if they have a 30% close rate, 3 out of 10 calls that were taken were closed. Over 500 calls were rebooked over the last 180 days.
Now do the numbers.
Like then do the numbers. And if your package is $5,000 to $6,000, right? That's a lot of freaking money that singular use case has generated for you. Like, let's just run the math.
All right. Crazy.
If we're looking at it, it's like 516 leads were rebooked over the last 60 days. That account over that time frame is at 60% show rate, right? That's 309 calls taken. And let's just say worst case scenario,
20%.
20%. That's 61 deals closed over that time. And then if you're like, your deal's $5,000, that's $309,000. That one thing has made you over the last 6 months and you want to shut it off because the closers feel it's a little too aggressive. I'm like, F your feelings. All right. I don't care.
That's crazy to me. Like if I'm a sales rep, all I care is you giving me more calls that I could potentially make offers to so I could potentially make more sales to. Who cares if it's aggressive? Is it getting you people on the calendar?
The thing about it, but they didn't know the number. They didn't look at the number. They made a decision based off how they were feeling about it. All right. Cause they're too close to the situation. Right.
They're just seeing the messages going back and forth.
The messages going back and forth. And they don't like what's happening. They don't like how that looks. They don't like the form of it. But then when you zoom out, you're like,
that's crazy to me.
This is effective as hell. Like, oh my goodness. Right. Then you're like, oh, once you zoom out, then how emotional you were about the thing when you were close to it, you're like, it becomes extremely trivial. Right. When you zoom out and you can see the bigger picture, your emotion to the one thing becomes extremely trivial. And you're like, wow, like I need to set my priorities straight. And time again, like that's how I feel like, even if you think about situations that you've been in the past where you've reacted one way, when you zoom out over a long enough time frame, you're like, that actually was like the best thing that could have happened to me because that led to this, led to this, led to this, led to this. And turns out that thing in the moment that felt bad worked out to be for the good. Right. And if more entrepreneurs can just get this one thing, right, be able, the ability to prioritize function over form, the ability to zoom out and start compiling data, look at the numbers before you make a knee-jerk reaction, right? I have a lot of sneaky suspicions about different things inside of our business. I've had a lot of sneaky suspicions about people on the team. All right. But even though my knee-jerk reaction was like, I want to get them off the team. First thing we did was like, okay, let's start tracking numbers around what they're doing. And let's just get a big
thing.
Right. Let's start gathering some data around this. Because maybe it's a matter of maybe what they're doing is they're very functional and they're producing results. And I just don't like the form of how it's being done. Right. And that's more of a matter of preference, right? Form is a matter of preference. Function is a matter of fact. Like, is it producing the outcome? Is it doing the thing that I need it to do? Yes. Is it doing the thing that I need it to do the way that I want it to do it? Right? Or no. Now, do I care about it doing the thing that I need it to do? more that I care about it doing the thing the way that I wanted to do it. If I care about it doing the thing, then I'm biasing function. All right. And we have to be able to let go of the illusion of control. It tells us something has to be done the way that I prefer it to be done. Not the way that's the most effective. It's the way that I prefer it to be done. And the bias of that preference is what leads to emotional knee-jerk reaction. All right. And if you can zoom out and just sit down and pause and be like, let me gather more numbers. Like, let me just zoom out and just see, like, is this thing even doing its job? Oh, not only is it doing its job to the tune of 62%, I was half expecting, like, when I pulled the report, I was thinking like it'd be like, if it was 10%, 20% rebooking, I was still going to be like, dude, F your opinion. Like, keep it on.
It's 10 to 20% more than what they would do. So
yeah,
I as well keep it on.
And the thing about it too is that they're too busy to do the cancellation follow-up themselves, to the point where they're like, we want to hire someone to come in to do that for us. And it's like, the F you are. No, So
yeah, and I think
like it's crazy what happens when you're able to slow down, but it takes practice and it takes commitment to being able to do that.
It does. I mean, I was emotional at the very beginning too, because I wanted it to be done a certain way and certain things I do in the business. Like, fuck, dude, I only want it this way. Can you just follow the damn thing that I told you to do? But then when you zoom out, I was like, man, they're taking a lot off my plate. They're doing way more than I would ever do. Yeah, some mistakes might happen. Big deal. We'll just try to correct it. Hopefully they don't do it next time. So I'm the same way too. But at the beginning now, I'm just like, like, I don't care, dude. Are you doing the job? Are you, you're doing it at a high level? We're going to get you there. But anyways, yeah, I used to be that. Totally not that anymore. But another thing is expectations. I know we do that. I take a lot of onboarding calls, right? I set expectations that I reiterate it about 2 to 3 times in the onboarding call, right? We're starting to do it on the launch calls, etc. So I know it gets scary when you implement a new thing in your business or into your sales process, like Charlie, right? You got to set expectations here, right? Charlie will never be exactly like you, won't, right? It's not going to be 100% Iggy, right? We're going to try to get him there, right? The whole goal is take it off your plate, create leverage, handle things 24/7, which you would never do, which in turn leads to more bookings, right? But he's never going to be 100% Iggy, no matter what I try to do, but we're going to get him pretty close, right? That's the goal. So you got to set expectations. And what I mean by that, I mean, it could be Charlie, it could be with a new blue chip client, it could be whatever, right? Same thing with blue chip clients. We tell them, look, you're going to waste 10 grand out the box. Just expect 10 grand. You're going to lose it. The whole point of it, validating. That's right. Now, I'm not gonna tell you that with Charlie, right? Because we can reiterate, change Charlie within seconds or within minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
what we need to do.
The piece I do with Charlie is instant. Like, we don't have to wait as long to see.
I don't have to wait. Exactly. Right. Blue chip, there's a lot of moving parts, ads, copy, messaging, opt-in. Like, there's way more, right? With Charlie, I got, what's the issue? Blah, blah, blah. Ooh, Q4 drop, change, edit. Boom. Now it's literally ready, right? But expect a few leads you might burn a few leads, right? Quote unquote. You might burn a few leads, but feedback loop is extremely quick, right? You can make adjustments extremely fast, right? Sometimes when people come to Charlie, because it's AI, because it works 24/7, because it's rolling, they think it's going to magically fix everything in your business.
That's the biggest misconception about.
Oh my God, dude. It is.
I'm like, that
is crazy. I know what's going on.
So we're going to have to wrap up here soon, but that's the biggest misconception about AI is people think that it's just going to work out the box. Now, what we are proactively doing is we are proactively training and building the infrastructure, the master brain and the master engine, the underlining technology, right, that powers all of Charlie. We are training and we've got massive roadmap design to really invest in building that up so that each iteration of Charlie that gets deployed, right, comes out the box more capable. right? But even then, it's still going to be like 50 to 60% out the box at best. And then you got to fill in the blanks to really make it where you need it to be. Now, our team does a lot of the work to do that. But the expectation that I think most people kind of get wrong is they're expecting it to come and kind of save their business, right? If you got a marketing issue, Charlie's going to expose that you have a marketing issue.
We literally just came out with that earlier.
If you have a marketing issue, it's going to expose the hell out of your marketing issue because your response rates are going to be low. You're going to have a lot of leads getting DQ'd. You have a lot of leads that are coming in that even if they get booked in, they're not going to show. Like that's a marketing problem, right? And it's going to expose it. If you have good marketing, Charlie's going to expose that your marketing is really good because what's going to happen is it goes live and it's just going to be printing bookings and you're going to be making sales within the first week of it going live. So it's not one of those things where it's going to save the business. You don't hire an employee to save your business. You hire an employee to unlock bandwidth, right? To give you more leverage. So you don't hire someone to come in and save your business. If you do, then you shouldn't be in business, right? Because an employee isn't going to come and save your business. And that's the same thing with Charlie. Like you're hiring it as an AI employee to come into your business to take this stuff off your plate so you can focus on other things. If you have good marketing, if you have good sales, it's just going to expose that because guess what's going to happen when you plug something in that can produce instant speed to lead, increase your sales, your lead to book rate, right? You're just going to get more of the things you're already getting, right? If you're getting crickets and you're having a hard time getting people to book calls and you're hoping this thing can come in and do that for you, like you're going to be getting more of the same thing. And I think that's where people kind of get wrong and get emotional. Is that they're struggling and they hate doing this thing and they're not doing it as effective as they should be doing it. So then they're hoping that this thing will be the magic bullet for them, right? It's just going to explode whether or not what you're doing is already effective. And then what we can do is we could iterate it to make it more effective. But if your lead quality is terrible and you're struggling to close deals before you hire something like Charlie, it's not going to fix that for you.
I mean, we seen that this past week. I mean, we've seen it for weeks. Like I can pinpoint where Charlie's going to do good because I could see the brand that came in and see like, oh yeah, Charlie's going to crush this. This could be easy. Sure shit. Hey man, I got Charlie booked me another one. I got another sale off about Charlie. I'm like, cool. Then I see another one is like, yeah, it's just, I don't know about this brand, bro. Like, I don't know. First Charlie didn't work. I'm like, interesting. First, we used their sales messaging process. Didn't work. Their stuff, by the way, not even Charlie's. We put our best performer. Didn't work. We put another one of our best performer in the same demographic that they are supposed to be targeting. Didn't work. I got the third Charlie in that account. I don't know yet. It's only been 24 hours. Hey, homie, if I got 3 of the best performing Charlies, that absolutely crushes everywhere else.
There's only one control. That's one variable. It's the marketing, right? Like that marketing has to get fixed. But that's the nice thing about that is like, that's how Charlie exposes it. But at the end of the day, to kind of wrap this up, to reduce how emotional you are about your business. Number one, you got to reduce frequency, right? Zoom out and start gathering data on a regular cadence, weekly, monthly, quarterly, look at the trends, right? Start compiling data and then start analyzing your data. Actually analyze it. Go in and start to look at, okay, what happens when is it producing the outcome that I need? If it is producing the outcome that I need, find something else, right? Because it's something I had to tell a client recently was, they were like, Charlie's producing a 12% lead to book rate and I want to like optimize the messaging to get higher. I'm like, dude, 10% is like, you're killing it. Industry standard for as far as messaging goes. You got a 12% lead to book rate, or how many of those calls that were booked close? Oh, I close almost 50% of the deals that Charlie booked on the calendar. Great. So how about we just solve one thing? Can we solve for getting Charlie more leads? Like, bitch.
You see that
Like,
budget? Raise it up, baby.
like, let's let's not get in the weeds of trying to optimize the hell out of his messaging. Like, we zoom out and it's like, okay, cool. Based on the data-driven strategy is get more volume. Go and execute getting more volume for the damn thing, because you don't need to be in the weeds, right? So we got to compile data, got to analyze the data, develop data-driven strategy, execute that, bias, function over form, right? Function over form, and let go of your preferences. Identify your preferences and your bias, acknowledge them, and be like, all right, what about this don't I like? Oh, it's because it's not doing it the way that I prefer it to be done. Then you got to ask, is it doing it the way that needs to be done? Is it getting results? And if it is, then you got to decide, do I want the results more than I want the preference? Or do I want my preference more than I want the results? It is okay if you want your preference more than you want the results, right? Just don't complain about the lack of results. Like, if you get your preference, just don't complain about the lack of results. If you acknowledge the fact that you prefer it to be done a certain way, right? Then that's the other, and that's how you set healthy expectations. So hopefully this is helpful. We got to wrap up, but this was fun. I think more people need to understand how to really zoom out and not be so emotional about their business, because the biggest risk to your business as an entrepreneur is your emotional volatility, your inability to be level-headed and make objectively good decisions. That's the biggest risk to the business, because there's no real competition out there. Right? You can find people who want your service, who need your help, who resonate with your values and who you are, and they're willing to do business with you because of who you are. The biggest risk to your business is your inability to make objectively good decision. And the biggest blocker that prevents you from making objectively good decision is your emotional volatility. So zoom out, slow down, bias, function over form, compile data, analyze data, develop data-driven strategy, execute that, and repeat. And if you do that, you will make the good decision in your business, and it'll be very, very hard to grow a business that you're making objectively good decisions with. Like, it's really hard not to grow a business if you're making good decisions and doing the right things in the right order based on data. All right. So hopefully you guys find this helpful. Till next time, stay calm, change vibes, and have business on your terms. Peace.